Hey, Graham, how are you, mate?
I'm very well.
I probably should apologise. I've not talked much about stuff that's going on in my life recently, but you'll know this. I'm on steroids at the moment for reasons that no one needs to know, apart from the fact that I am a bit hyper. I was
He's absolutely ripped as well. He's looking like Dwayne The Rock Johnson at
so
the moment.
so
It's
so so
remarkable.
so nice. If I was warned that these steroids would either make me manically depressed or super hyper, and I didn't know which was best, so I went for super hyper.
You are literally Lee on steroids.
I am indeed. Yeah. And it's probably good that I'm on steroids because we're going to be talking about something really exciting today that I know very little about. So this is going to be quite a learning opportunity for me. I assume that you're already all over non-fungible tokens, aren't you, Gwilym?
Or are they all over me? They sound quite. It sounds like
No,
sticker.
it's not a fun. I don't think it's a fungus.
Oh, right. Oh, then yeah. We're both going to learn, aren't we?
Lee Davis and Gwilym Roberts are the two IPs in a pod, and you are listening to a podcast on intellectual property, brought to you by the Chartered Institute of Patent Attorneys.
I'm going to bring Niels into the conversation now, who's our guest for today. Niels, would you like to introduce yourself? Because you know you better than I know you.
Sure, and thank you for having me. As you said, I'm Niels Rauer. I'm a lawyer. Sorry to say. I'm based in Frankfurt, working as a partner for Pinson Masons, which is a old UK and now international law firm. And by heart, I'm a copyright lawyer, you can say, with a lot of digital stuff going on in my life and when I talk to clients. So copyright, IP rights, digitization, digital transformation. That's me.
All stuff digital then. Digital is your bag.
Yes. That's it has developed into that direction because of a lot of IP rights nowadays are used online. I mean, images, videos, text pieces. It's all more or less copyright. A lot of patent stuff, a lot of trademarks. You'll see them online. So, as a lawyer in that area, you need to move into the digital area as well.
Cool. Well, can we start somewhere really, really basic, because we've got quite a wide listenership to the podcast.
Right.
Clearly, a lot of SEPA members listening. So you've got seasoned IP professionals who will know a bit about NFTs and generally know a lot about the world of IP. So we'll probably be there or thereabouts. But equally, we get a lot of people listening to the podcast who've just got a general interest in IP. And may be coming across NFTs for the first time. So can we start somewhere really simple? And can you kind of help us understand what are non-fungible tokens and why we should be interested in them?
Sure. At least I can try. It's a complex thing, but maybe you've heard about blockchain technology. Blockchain means that you have a chain of transactions going from A to B to C, and those blockchains, they have blocks. That's what the name says. Or you can call them tokens. And those tokens are vehicles where something linked to it can be given from you to me to someone else. So tokens is simply a part of a blockchain. Now, usually those tokens can be exchanged against each other because they all look the same, like Bitcoins. It's a currency. Every coin looks the same, and you can exchange it. Doesn't matter if you have coin A and I have coin B. We can exchange them. They are worth the same thing. Now, with non-fungible tokens, as the name says, they are unique. They cannot be exchanged so easily. You can buy one, but then you have this one token and it only exists in the internet one time. And that's a fairly new concept, that you have something not floating around and being exchangeable, but it's unique. And this unique vehicle, if you put some IP into it, that can help fighting those counterfeit pieces of music, counterfeit pieces or unauthorized pieces of any type of digital asset by making it unique in this bubble, in this token. That's it.
Did you understand that, Graham?
Yeah, although I think we can definitely dive into it a little bit more. So we've got the again, staying at the basics, because I do lots of patents, not so much copyright. Staying at the basics, you've got like a unique piece of music, and you put it out on the internet, and everyone can listen to it. And you either stream it or that you put it through a paywall or something like that. And if people try and copy it, then you've got copyright behind you. But it's obviously incredibly difficult to assert copyright, and so you go through licensing societies and all that kind of thing to give you some help. NFTs are a way of, as you say, kind of was watermarking it. Are you saying that NFTs are therefore being used to actually kind of control the distribution of music? Is that the future? Is that part of the story though?
At least it's one use case. You can use NFTs with a variety of assets. You can use them as collectibles. I mean, you know these football cards we always had when we were younger, and now you can have that in a NFT, and it's a digital collectible, and you can make sure that only a defined number of those cards exist. So that makes them unique. You can raise charity with it. So if you buy an NFT, it comes with the obligation to donate a certain amount to some sort of charity. You can have within e-games. So you have your avatar and you need some accessory, maybe a weapon, maybe whatever you might give to your avatar. You can buy that by way of an NFT, and you can make sure you have the original, the genuine piece nobody else has. So there are a variety of options. And of course, music is something where NFTs will gain more importance. If you have a very special gig, something that is very unique, and you don't want to sell it either through Spotify or through your label, you can come up with an NFT, and only maybe 1,000 people are allowed to buy this NFT, and they have their very private gig, their very private concert that comes with the NFT.
But help me, what stops? So those 1,000 people have their 1,000th ownership of that gig or whatever. What stops them from sharing it? How are they prevented from allowing other people to access that?
I think there we need to touch upon one thing: what NFTs can do and what they can't do. As I said, it's based on the blockchain technology, and whoever created the NFT, minted it, that's the technical term, minting an NFT, is the first one in the chain. It's the blockchain doesn't forget anything, so you can trace back who made the NFT by going back token per token per token on the blockchain. So you get this traceability. What you cannot make sure is whether those who did the first minting were actually the owners of the IP that is in the NFT. So you always need to have a due diligence process coming before that. However, if you buy an NFT and you can be sure that the artist you bought the gig from is the true artist, it's for you to either listen to it with friends, be happy, or if you want to take it out of the blockchain, it's already recorded if you were to do that. So those who break the chain get caught. So nobody will really do it. And it's like the bargain is, I just use it for selling it on or listening to it or showing to my friends, but I don't break the chain.
So it's almost as if, I'm going to put this in rather simple terms for my simple brain, it's almost as if I've bought something, say something, let's put it into the tangible world. I bought something physical, but it comes with some kind of permanent tag that follows that around so that the original owner always knows where it is.
Yep.
Got it.
And he knows it because of the blockchain.
And you said something really interesting there. You said that you can't be sure. You used the term minting. I think I understand what that means. That means converting a digital asset into an NFT.
Yep.
But you said that you can't be sure that the person who does that is the actual owner of the IP or has the right to do that. Does that not build into the system the potential for fraud?
It does. I mean, it's same in the analog world. You buy a Rembrandt painting because you see, okay, there's the signature underneath, and you deem it being the true one, the genuine but you can't be sure whether someone else copied it. That's what also translates into the digital sphere. However, and I give you an example, which is an actual court case from Italy. There was a company, an IT company, who does minting, and they did football cards, digital football cards with player on it. A number of players, they went to the player and said, look, this is what we want to do. Are you happy with us taking your face into an NFT, into such a card, and you get X amount of money? The player said, yes, I'll do. I'm fine. Good. So the company did the collectibles, the digital ones, and all of a sudden, Juventus, the football club, came and knocked the door and said, hey, you should have asked us as well, because the player is wearing our shirt.
Right.
And then the IP company said, oh, damn it, I forgot to do my due diligence in a comprehensive way. So whilst they got the rights, the personal rights from the player, they didn't get the rights from the club as regards the shirt, the emblem, the sponsor, etc. So, and this is what I mean, you can't be sure that who does the minting has done the complete homework. This is something that the NFT cannot tell. You can go back and trace back to who did it, but then you need to either trust or get some guarantee that this person got the rights from all the people he needed, not only from the player, but also from the club. Is that illustrating the problem?
Yeah, no, I get that entirely. I haven't said that. As someone who was never a great football card collector, I also can't understand why people would ever want to own anything digitally. So in my own head, I guess just from a not really understanding how this ownership thing works, it doesn't make sense to me on first principles. But I understand entirely the way that you're explaining it.
I was wondering where the model came from, actually. Was it people finding ways of using the underlying principle of blockchain and thinking, how else could we use it? Or is it because people have been demanding the same sort of exclusivity for digital possession as they already have for real world physical possession? Where did the genesis of NFTs come from?
Well, it became popular in first place in a niche area, which is digital art, where artists not just did their painting, but they created something unique in artwork by putting together stuff and put it into an NFT. The Beeple painting every day is a good example. It was sold at the price of $69.3 million at Christie's, and so that was something very unique. And someone wants to own a painting from Rembrandt, here someone wanted to own this, or the first ever issued or sent SMS put in an NFT. It's about owning something that is unique. It's about possession of something no one else can have. So that's something people tend to enjoy in the analog world. And if you have the cash and the money that pays you such a digital artwork, then of course this is something where you find an audience, where you find a market to sell it. If, and that's the big if you can guarantee it's unique. If you can't guarantee that, you won't find a lot of people paying money for it.
So I was thinking about this podcast, Niels, not this episode of the podcast, but the fact that Gwilym and I do these podcasts for SEPA. So they exist digitally, so that they make sense to me as something that only exists in that kind of unique digital sense. Could we take a single episode of the podcast and turn it into an NFT? And if we did that, so we could sell the unique right to one of our podcast episodes as an NFT. And if we did that, what would that mean for our creative rights as the original owners of the IP?
First answer, yes, clearly you can do that. Why not? It's any type of image, video sequence, audio sequence, whatever it is, which of course is copyright protected, so it's yours. Well, you should take my consent prior to doing it, but Hereby,
Due
I do
diligence.
grant that. I do grant that, exactly. And of course, yeah, then you have someone doing the technical stuff for you, minting it, and you put it on one of the marketplaces. And there are several where you can go when you don't have your own website, your own NFT marketplace. There are offerors who do that for you, like Amazon, and put it there, put a price tag to it, and see how many people want to buy it. And just one important thing: you don't need to make one NFT linked to one piece of content. You could say, okay, we want to be exclusive with this episode, but let's see, we do think we have a market of 1,000 or 10,000 people. So we offer this episode as an NFT, and we create 500 NFTs with this content. It sits somewhere in a safe server environment. The link goes into the NFT, and we have 500 unique NFTs all linking to this episode. And see what money you can make of it, if you need to work tomorrow and the day after, or whether you can stop working and just benefit of your NFT.
I'm not sure that the episodes of the podcast will ever get Guillem and I to the position where we never need to work again. But it's a nice thought.
There are some classics, Lee. There are some classics. Let's be honest with you.
Be optimistic.
It is interesting how the NFT concept does seem to kind of scratch an itch that it's a very human need to attribute value to rarity, if you like. Yes. It is effective what it's doing, isn't it? Because I mean, in the real world, you get your signed Messi shirt and some charity auction or something, and you pay a shed load of money for it, and then it's yours. But in the end, it's just kind of a shirt, really, with his name on it. But we've all decided we'll attribute value, and sometimes rarity merits value properly with like rare metals and things. That makes sense. There's only so many metals there. You pay loads of money. That's fine. It's funny how in the real world, as Lee, as you say, collectible football tokens not really my thing, nor Messi shirts. But I can't think of many things personally where the rarity adds vast value to it. But then again, there's a huge market in all of these things, and so it's funny how yet again the internet's found a way of digitizing basic human needs, if you like. Is that too philosophical?
Possibly not, because I mean, yes, let's take the Messi shirt. It's a great goodie, and it's haptic. You can grasp it, you can smell it. All that is perfect, but you can't wear it every day. So what people do nowadays, they if they have something they want to share with friends, they pull out their mobile phone and they show it. It might be then a photo of the Messi shirt, because they can't wear it right now, but they are in a nice pub and talk about it. And look, this is what I have. Isn't it great? And the NFTs just take that one step further. You again pull your iPhone. You can say, look, this is my NFT. Nobody else has it. And isn't it great?
Entirely unrelated to this podcast whatsoever, apart from the fact that you talked about smelling a Messi shirt. One of the reasons I'm on steroids, as Guillem knows, is because I've got this ongoing sinus problem. So I've not been able to smell for 2 years. And yesterday, the steroids started to release my smelling capabilities. So I've started to get a sense of smell back. And I played squash last night. But everything in the world is tinged with a faint smell of vinegar. So I can only imagine this Messi shirt now is smelling a bit like Lionel Messi, but with vinegar added.
What an image! Thank you, Lee.
But I just try to smell NFTs.
Share it. Sorry, no, we should get back onto the topic, shouldn't we?
So, I mean, one of the things that occurs to me is that you've got a collision of two interesting areas where value's been created almost kind of from nothing, if you will. And one of them is the whole blockchain concept, which people found ways of using this amazing mathematical uniqueness of each code is my basic idea of it. On the one hand, they found the use of that, and on the other hand, the idea of rarity attributing value, even though it isn't really rare because it can be infinitely digitally copied. It's just we've made it rare, if you like. They're both quite risky, though, aren't they? Because I mean, looking at again football tokens, people could suddenly decide, actually, I'm not interested in that anymore, and the value would drop out of the market instantly if people weren't the market's entirely created by humans. And on the blockchain side, we've actually seen big story recently, haven't we, about cryptocurrency. One of the big exchanges has collapsed and it's caused billions of dollars worth of damage and everything. Is this not a collision of two rather fragile constructs, kind of the rarity market and the blockchain driven kind of fake authentication market? Is it quite risky doing NFT? If you as a punter, if you buy one, presumably the bottom could fall out of the market tomorrow.
Good question indeed. I think that there are several points to take into consideration here. First of all, those collectibles. There will be people who just buy the NFT once and they are not interested in reselling it, and possibly even not interested in how the value might go up and down. Simply having it, owning it.
Okay.
The digital messy shirt, I do want to keep it for lifetime. This type of collectors, they don't care how things develop. Then there are people who want to make money with it. To be the first one to buy something, and there you just need to watch out, because there are risks involved in all that. But that's in the same way in an analog market. If you buy some shares in a company, you never know how it develops, and those investment type of engagements, they will be risky outside the internet and inside the internet and in the sphere of NFTs. If you want to invest, then you just need to make sure that there is not enough traction. Let's take the NBA Hot Shots. This is the first collectibles that really kicked off, and they are traded now for a couple of years, and this is continuing to pull new people in it, and that's a market where you can say that's fairly stable. Others, in particular in the football area, aren't that far as the basketball, North American Basketball League is. So that's something which has to be seen. And of course, we do have this additional layer of cryptocurrencies coming into the game, because you cannot simply put your US dollar, your pound sterling, or your euro on the table and say, I want to have that NFT. It first needs to be converted into a cryptocurrency, Ether or Bitcoin or whatever. And this conversion course, of course, goes up and down. We all know that. So not only the value of the NFT might go up and down, the currency may also. So you have two factors to calculate when going into the market as an investor. Whether that will resonate over time, I don't know. What I do know is that we have so much unauthorized content floating around the internet, and NFTs giving the chance of this stamp of authenticity, this marking. It has potential, not for everything, but the need is there, and there will be markets where you can also invest and make money with it. And then there's a market where you are just supporting your sports club, your band, your whatever, where the collecting piece is more important than making a lot of money with it. So there are varieties of thoughts given that this is a fairly new technology, and there will be use cases that will fly, that will resonate, and others which won't.
Okay, very helpful. Over to you, Lee.
So and I know Graham's got loads more to ask, but I wanted to get my Trump question in somewhere. So I think this is the right place for it, Niels. So I've just been looking at TrumpTradingCards.com or whatever the website is, and I see that the Trump trading cards are sold out. So I imagine part of the strategy there is to I'm going to say release, as if he's a Pokemon, but so to release a number of trading cards that would never be enough to meet demand. So that you always maintain an appetite for future sales. So Trump's sold all of his trading cards. So the NFTs are owned by the people that have bought them. How does he further monetize that other than by making more cards? If someone sells on one of those NFTs, is there a kind of financial route back to the originator, or is it the new owner that is the kind of sole beneficiary?
commonly there is, because if you go to a marketplace, whatever name it might be, you not only buy the NFT and get a license to the IP that is linked to the NFT, you probably accept the terms and conditions of that marketplace. And there is also in this contract where you buy the NFT, usually a clause saying when you sell it on, 10% of whatever you get for your NFT when selling it on goes to the guy who originally minted the NFT. So you have a continued participation of the initial minting party in each sale and sale and sale on of the NFT.
Yeah, I understand the business model now.
Yeah. But it's you can also allow it to float for free. It's just it comes with it T and C's, and for our clients, we usually sit together and say, look, what is the offering you want to do here? What is the type of spread you want to reach? And the more you charge on the resale, the more that is a hurdle for those who obtained it in first place to sell it on. So you just need to pace yourself in that respect. If you want some traction, some traffic on your website, on your marketplace, so don't put the hurdle too high. It must be of interest to those who've bought it in first place to sell it on.
Got it. Thank you.
There you go.
Sorry, Gwyneth, back to you, mate.
Lee's basically trying to work out how to monetize it when we.
I am. I'm sat here now currently trying to work out how my business is going to work.
when we create a rarity market in the podcast sphere.
But let me maybe add one thing, because it's not for everyone. And when we go back to the episode you might put into an NFT, if you want to be heard, if you want to spread the news as widely as you can, then of course the streaming model offered by Spotify and others is more of what you should do, because then you get a license per click, and it's not important if someone copies it, because it's for more or less for free anyway, because all have a subscription with Spotify, and so it's don't take an umbrella with you if it's raining. It's always the question: do you need it? Is it worth for you, for your business model, to do it by way of an NFT, or is it more a marketing tool? Usually you are found on Spotify, but as you now have this wonderful episode on NFTs, let's do that one as an NFT for marketing and advertising purposes.
I think we should do one, Gwyneth. I think we should. We should do one.
It's a bit. We could do. Actually, again, first of all, drawing the kind of analogy with the real world, it's like buying. The Beatles want everybody to buy their albums, but they'll do limited edition boxed sets, which cost an absolute fortune. And you know that either you've got it or you haven't got it. And there's two different models there, and you can work both of them.
You know that two of them are dead and they're no longer making music, though. Yeah, I
know, but okay. Are there more recent bands we could mention? I can't think of any, but but we can do a box set, Lee. To a point. You actually. Neil, thanks for that. You actually kind of walked nicely into a really interesting area that I wanted to talk about, which is that we've talked lots and lots about NFTs, which are kind of digital authentication, so that you can. It's a proof of authenticity and originality and limitedness or whatever. But as you said at the beginning, you're actually a copyright lawyer, and copyright is much better fixed up for the other model, I think, where you want to get out to everybody, make sure you get your royalties in place and everything else. Where is the crossover between IP and NFTs?
Good question. The crossover, as far as I would put it, is NFTs need to be sexy, and what is more sexy than copyright? Well, or IP rights in general.
Agreed.
Don't laugh at me.
No, we're laughing with you. Don't worry. We're all part of that joke.
No, but it's those aspects that make someone considering buying a digital asset are usually covered by one type or another of copyright protected material. It's nice to have a video that shows something very, very particular. 100-meter gold medal run that comes with a personal interview by the chap or the girl who won that run. That is something that is appealing. A music gig that nobody else can hear. This Beeple artwork. So usually, if something is not protected by IP, it tends to be not of that much value. It tends to be boring, and therefore an NFT, if you see it as a vehicle, as a bubble, it's something technical that needs to be filled with appealing stuff, with IP, and that's the crossover.
That's very helpful. So carrying on from that, and obviously you don't need names or anything, but who are the typical clients who would come to you? Who's using the service with you and your firm?
Right now, it's sports clubs, it's individual sportive people, football players, it's sports associations. We're just now working on a major project for a global sports association, and those are the ones where you have fandom, where you have supporters who are eager to get some sort of a reward of something of the player, the shirt. We come back to that. So it's in the sports industry, first of all. Then we have in the metaverse, or the wider metaverse sphere, companies who want to allow, when they have a game on the market, to allow the avatar to be used also in other games. So you jump with your avatar from one game to another. And in order to avoid the problem, is it a true avatar? Is it the true weapon this avatar has in its hands? All that is also explored by way of, they explore whether that's something where NFTs can give the security and the certainty that nobody is fooling around in those games. That's the two areas where we have our clients and where we advise on them.
That's interesting. And I might be oversimplifying it, but it seems to me, therefore, that there's obviously crossovers, because IP can be the thing that is inside the NFT bubble, as you put it.
Yeah.
But they're on parallel tracks, aren't they? Often you find that IP underpins is the final sanction when you enforce a right, whereas NFTs are this mathematical solution. So when your avatar crosses to a different platform, the computer can check and say, just nod it in. It hasn't got the passport, as it were. So it doesn't need IP protection, doesn't need the Copyright Act or whatever to be invoked in order to stop that. So there still seem to be slightly, I can see how they work together, but they're two different solutions to a problem, aren't they?
Yeah, to some extent, you're right. I would put it slightly differently. But the problem often comes with the unauthorized pieces floating around on the internet, and NFTs are seen to be one solution how to at least try and stop that, and so that's it. However, it's in parallel, as on the one hand side, we have this digital vehicle, this programming based on a blockchain, which its benefits and its detriments, and on the other hand, you have all other sorts of benefits you could put into an NFT. To give you an example, a membership card. If you buy an NFT that says, okay, you're now a member of the supporters of the UK Premier League, and this comes with 2 free tickets per season and 2 special events with the team captain of Chelsea or whatever. That has nothing to do with IP. It's simply a benefit that you write into your terms and conditions in your description of the NFT. And okay, then you tick the box. I want to have tickets for the game on Boxing Day, and you get it because you have the NFT and you have it more or less as a voucher, you can say, digital voucher.
Niels, we've talked NFTs a lot. Are you sitting there thinking, oh, they've not asked me that yet? Is there anything that you wanted to kind of get across to SEPA's members and others who might listen about your world and the world of NFTs?
Well, I think we touched upon the main message already in one or two questions early on, but I think in essence, it's for everyone who listens to us today, they just need to have an understanding what NFTs can do and what they cannot do. Again, coming to the metaphor of the Rembrandt painting, simply that there's a signature underneath it doesn't promise you or doesn't guarantee you that it's a real Rembrandt. Only if you buy an NFT, you may not take for granted that everything that comes with it in terms of IP is authorized. It's a marking of authenticity, and it's a good chance that what comes there was, in the process of a due diligence, cleared as regards the rights, and everything is fine. However, don't be surprised. There will be people who fool around and who are not owning the IP rights, even though they put it into an NFT. So it's not an 110% guarantee. That's what people need to know.
Got it. Fantastic. Thank you. Well, thank you for your time. Before we close, though, I should say that you've also just done a webinar for SEPA's members. So if you're a SEPA web member listening to the podcast and you want to have a more in-depth look at the work that Niels is doing around NFTs, then please find the webinar on the SEPA website. Highly recommended. And also, Niels, we do this thing at the end where I usually come up with some kind of maybe related, maybe not related closing question just for fun. And Gwilym's been complaining at me that I never let him do the end question. So you're in the privileged position of being the first guest in 100 or so podcasts now to be on the receiving end of a Gwilym Roberts closing question. Gwilym, the podcast is yours to close.
Thank you. Well, first of all, I've not been begging for. I didn't know you make the rules and you changed the rules last time we had the podcast. So you can ask a question. So I got very excited. I wondered whether, given your comment about Lionel Messi and the smell of vinegar, I was wondering whether a good question would be, if you could name a sports star and the perfect condiment, what would they be? But I think that's a bit niche and a bit tricky. So I'm not going to do that
just
one.
A bit niche.
I'm not doing that one, but interests me. But this is going to sound like we haven't listened to a single thing Niels has said through the whole podcast. But the question is going to be, if you could make one thing that you own into an NFT, into a unique that only you had it and that no one else could get to it without your permission, what would it be? Niels, first of all.
That's a good question. Oh yeah, I happen to have a very nice whiskey that matured at Bruichladdich for 10 years. I bought the entire cask together with 10 people, and I think I would put one very last bottle of that whiskey into an NFT just to keep it for digital lifetime.
That is lovely. That's really, really good. Lee, now you know how it feels when you haven't had time to think about the bloody question.
So I can't immediately think of anything that I own. So I'm going to answer this in a kind of a politician's way, and I'm going to give you an answer to a question that you haven't asked. So no, it's because it's kind of something that I own. It's kind of something that I own, because I was thinking about the kind of the podcast and NFTing the podcast, and I was thinking, why would we do that? And then I thought about some of the podcasts we've done with people that deserve to be remembered in perpetuity. So I would take, for example, the Robin Jacob podcast. I would turn it into an NFT and I would gift it to Sir Robin for the remainder of his days, so that he could then do with what he wanted in terms of, when that time comes when he needs to declare what he's doing with all of his assets, that he could decide what to do with that podcast. So I would turn our creative output into a gift.
That's a great idea.
I guess.
I quite like that.
Nicely.
Yeah, and actually, I was thinking about it. I think I would probably try and do an experience, as it were, thinking it through. And I'm thinking about some of the great nights when we used to have all the band nights and the gigs and everything. Niels, we used to have a SEPA. We used to have a battle of the bands through SEPA, and it was actually some of the best evenings I've ever had. They were great fun. I'd probably try and capture one of those in a bottle and NFT it. I think, and every now and then, a bit like your whiskey, open it up and have a tiny sip. That's what I do. By the way, I now realise, Lee, it also helps to think of an answer to your own question, which I haven't. So I just caught myself out. Darn it! Right, I can hand over to you. You can close. Go on.
Yeah, cheers, good. Niels, thank you so much for spending time with us. I know you've done a lot for SEPA recently on this, and we really do appreciate it. Gwilym, I'll see you on the next one.
Looking forward to it.
Thanks
Bye
for
now.
having me.